Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show.
The Rise Up Morning Show.
Today is Thursday, April 24th, rounding out the week with something from the Fraud Prevention Department at the Rise Up Morning Show. One of my favorite places. Comes a tale from our friend Alex. I was hoping you would introduce the show with what I saw you posted in Scam Alerts yesterday about the phone call you got. I was, frankly, as a little background, shocked. These scams, they're getting richer and richer. People are getting better and better at separating you from your money. Please.
Yeah, I thought it was noteworthy because it's the first one in a long time that had me going for a second. Didn't take too long to suss it out, but like the fact that it was not immediately like definitely a scam. I'll admit when I got the phone call at first, my alarm bells were a little bit off because I didn't request it, and I've never received a phone call from. So backstory, it was Google. Google called me, and the caller ID on my phone said Google. So I answered it only because I knew that they could call, because sometimes I've requested like account information or whatever, or like confirmation, and it said like, you know, you'll receive a phone call shortly from the Google security team, and like sometimes it can either be a text or a call to like confirm whatever. And I was like, well, I didn't ask for anything. So I sort of went into the phone call assuming someone else was trying to get access to my account, and this was Google letting me know. That's what I thought was happening, that someone else had requested it. So I answered it, and it was so weird. The person on the other end who did all the things, you know, like this call is being recorded for quality assurance, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Perfect customer service voice, you know, kind of a thing. And they were just like, we're looking for the immediate family of Mr. Alex Popovich. Except they said my name wrong. And I was just like speaking, and didn't say that I was me, just, yep, you got it. What's up? And they were just looking to confirm account transfer or account custody transfer. And I was like, why? And they're like, well, because we received the report that the account holder is deceased. And I'm like, hi, I'm very much alive. Can you tell me what this is about? And slight rigmarole, had perfect answers to all the questions. All of my, you know, like, why are you calling me? This doesn't seem normal. Blah, 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 whatever. And I kind of thought the whole thing was wrapped up. And honestly, I was just like, okay, well, you know, this is a little weird, but I'll double check my security. It turns out the request had come in from some guy with the most Japanese name I've ever heard in my life. And I'm like, yeah, definitely not next of kinning my account to some guy in Japan, but thanks for checking. And they were like, okay, well, we'll reject the claim. And, you know, is there anything else? And I really want to know if they would have said this without me asking, because I was like, well, you know, I assume that the next thing I should do is just shore up my security and, you know, double check all my stuff. And they're like, yes, actually, we can send you a like request for verification. And then my phone got that little pop up, you know, like so-and-so is request, you know, new author or connection request or whatever it says, you know.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and it just said from iOS. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, hard no. Like, no way am I clicking this. That's very strange. This is now a break from the norm. And we have just been talking about connection request scams and authorizing access to accounts and all this kind of stuff. So I just said, I rejected it. And I said, I'm extremely uncomfortable clicking that. You know, thanks. I'll just take care of it from my side. You know, I know how to handle it, whatever. Thank you for the alert. And they were just like, oh, no. Was it because iOS? We know you're on Android. I was like, I'm sure you do, sweet cheeks.
That's the point of their scam, where they're like, it's a 50-50. Roll the dice.
Yeah. Yep. Probably a little bit higher than 50-50, but they, I was just like, okay, well, you know, and then as soon as I said that and rejected it, they hung up on me. And that was the conference. I was like, okay, 100%, that was a scam. And, you know, as I'm looking at like, this one may not have been so, you know, it would have been bad. This particular email account, like, is not connected to a ton of stuff. I've pretty much moved everything over because this account is the one that every spammer on the face of the earth has. It's like my first email address, my most, established account, but would have still been bad. So just a warning. And then, of course, I went and started looking up this particular flavor of scam and receiving the phone call with caller ID marking that it was from who they said they were, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, relatively common. They'll never call you. If you didn't ask for the call, just assume it's a scam. If that should be, I'm trying to think like, okay, what's
also,
the single?
It just seems to me like this sort of thing, it would be like you'd get some notification first, like they text you. I feel like they wouldn't call you first.
And I will say that I did, like, alarm bells went off at first when I got the call, but the only reason I entertained it for a second is just because I knew that I had personally requested a phone call from them before to get access to my own accounts before. And it was like, because it gave me an option, like, do you just want a text message or like, should someone call you? And I was like, I'm driving, just call me. And I just figured like maybe, but anyway. Long story short, what's the single rule that we can pull out of this? If you didn't initiate the communication with literally anyone that tries to get a hold of you, go into it assuming it's a scam and force them to prove otherwise. And if you are in any shred of doubt, pretend to lose connection with the call and then call them back. Like I tell my parents this, I've told Christina this, like I'm assuming you guys have done the same. There is so much video footage of me on the internet and so many samples of my voice on the internet. I can't believe that no one's tried to hit my family with scams using AI to replicate my voice, because I can't imagine how good the replication would be with how many samples you could get out of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with how many times I've talked specifically about money and security and like all these kinds of things. So, again, another lesson to pull out of this, have a plan with anyone that is in your life that could be at risk of receiving one of those. One of Christina's aunts or uncles received a phone call from someone. AI replicated the voice of his daughter trying to get money out of him, and figured it out, but took him a minute. It was pretty convincing. And this was years ago. It's gotten exponentially better.
Yeah.
So like Tori said, secret phrases. We have all sorts of like questions to ask that, things no one would think to ask, things I know for a fact I've never talked about, like, have some sort of security plan brief with your family, because the amount of money stolen and reported by people stolen through fraudulent activities last year was exponentially higher than the year before, to the degree of billions, crypto and otherwise. We're looking at north of $15 billion stolen from people just from frauds and scams last year alone, which was an increase from the year before. So, you cannot be too careful. If you think you're being paranoid, you're probably not being paranoid enough. Assume everyone is trying to steal from you.
And I want to tap into this secret phrase thing, the secret word. For people who don't have one, except for their crypto, it is not a bad idea to consider using some sort of passphrase, establishing one with family members, writing them down just like you write your crypto seed phrases down, so that if you are in this kind of situation, you can quickly ask for it, because people will often prey on your urgency. It'll be a phone call from your daughter, from your mother, from somebody who's been in a car accident that you love, who needs money and is in a bad spot, who's in jail or whatever. And it's going to sound like them, and they're going to appeal to all your emotions. And if you don't have a protocol in place, one that's easy to use consistently, just like your cold storage, just like your software wallet, then you very well could compromise yourself. So come up with a silly little thing. I don't know, Alex. Well, we should probably have them too, but I feel like I could suss it out of you guys if it's a trap. Somebody was calling me and trying to get you.
Yeah,
like, Alex, how's your creator coin doing?
The problem is that a lot of our inside jokes are very much outside jokes now.
That's right. I guess they are.
That hard.
Damn.
But the other good, just because phone numbers can be cloned, it's possible to, pretend that an incoming call is coming from somewhere else. So even if the caller ID like reflects the accurate thing, you should just assume, like it could be from a different number. It could be from the one. It's not that hard. Most people have awful security on their phones, and they just leave these things all over the place. They're always on them. You walk through anything, it's easy to scan something, it's easy to bump something, trick someone into scanning a QR code, clicking a bad link, tapping a bad NFC tag, like all sorts of things. And I always tell, like my parents, for example, if you get the call and you're not sure, assume it's not me, because I would, it would have to be so insane for me to call you like that, and then run through the questions. And I know all these things and I don't talk about these things. So, just take your pick, any dozen of these. And I will never be upset if you're checking. So like if they get agitated, there's a problem.
That's rule number one. You can't, if somebody asks you, what's the secret word? Don't be like, Mom, come on. It's serious.
Well, and like, I've had people describe to me too scams wherein they received a phone call that showed it was coming from a police department who was cloned, and forcing them to come down like to some city building to do this. And the threat was, if you hang up, like, unfortunately, we will have to treat this as like a dodged call, and then a warrant for your arrest will be issued, and you're going to have to pay a bunch of money or whatever. So just stay on the phone. And it was just a trick to prevent them from calling 911. But you can always, that's not real. Like all those kinds of things are not real. You can always like pretend to drop the call and then call the real department back. Or if you get the phone call from someone in your family, try texting them first on the side. Like there's, go around and, hang up, call them right back. Clone an incoming, maybe not an outgoing. Like it's worth doing some checking, but
I always
you really
just
can't be too careful.
I always just have the standard policy of turning into the maid of Superman's fortress from Family Guy, where you just go, no, Superman no here. He no here.
And she slowly puts the phone down.
No.
Or slowly closes the door.
That was it. Yeah, that's my response to everything. And I go, if it's really important, I'll get a phone call, an email, or a text later. And they'll keep trying after a while. And if it has, and it's the police, well, I guess I'll just let my lawyer solve this problem for me.
Exactly. It's perfect. I am amazed sometimes at the overlap between our pop culture references, and it just delights me when one of you uses a meme that I get. That's a great one.
I know. We're all pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
Evan's seen like 9 things on the internet and in TV and pop culture. So when someone references one, it's a great day.
It's a really great day for me. I feel so included. And I wanted to include ATV Bob, who shouted out the elusive comet scam we covered earlier this week. We have had a big week for fraud prevention and scams. That department at Faceless Labs and Rise Up Media has been booming. Part of Zoom's user agreement is that they can use, meaning people who call you can request access by default. And also Zoom has a right to use some of your video and audio depending on how you choose to store it. At least during COVID, he says, times it was. I noticed on the wife's computer.
Yep, I remember that.
You got to turn it off by default, the option to allow others to prompt you to share your screen. It is getting wild out there. And also, I think we should remind people, these are our only accounts, and we will never directly message you to ask for your seed phrase, to offer you investment advice, to help you move to a quantum or QFS ledger, to invest for you, to sell you free Bitcoin, or anything else like that. If you want to get a hold of us, the best way to do it is through all the official channels at theriseupmorningshow.com. And the very best one is, for now, the Rise Up Discord server. It's totally free to join. All that's missing is you. It's discord.gg/riseup. That is how, if you want to get in touch with us because you need personal help like coaching, or want to take a class, or just need to ask us a question, to do it. We will not approach you with those things because we want to keep you safe. It's not because we don't like you. It's because our impersonators are going to do that. I had an Alex the other day who was saying, "Hello and peace to you, my brother. How is your trading going?" or something. I was like, listen,
hello and peace.
Hello and peace.
Yep. I've seen a lot where they pull phrases out of comments that we leave in reply to people often. And
well, that guy was in the wrong account.
Sometimes they cross their wires a little bit. Fake Wills DM me almost daily.
Nice.
And
you ignore the fake me's? It's pretty rude.
Every now and then, if I have a minute, I'll fuck with one of them. But it's usually just like me telling them, like, you guys really don't do your homework, do you?
Yeah.
Shotgun blast, baby.
Christina was what's the term for when you waste their time? There's a term for it. I can't remember.
Leading someone on,
Yeah,
jerking them around.
There's a scam term for it, for like a something baiting. I don't remember.
Rage
Anyway,
baiting.
Revenge bait.
It'll come to me. It was just, she was wasting the time of an Alex impersonator, pretending that she was having a conversation with it about the fact that she just discovered I was having an affair and she was heartbroken.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
And this thing was like working overtime. It was so funny. It would like lightly acknowledge the comment she made and then really quickly try to get her back on investing and money. And it was just like, she was like,
we have so much more to talk about this.
Just
this
like
affair.
10 years of marriage. And it's like, yeah. Sorry. How's those markets though?
Yeah.
It's like on and on. I think
He's
she
like,
told
I
me
just
she was
have to do a
pregnant.
job
She's
here.
like, oh, congratulations. Have you thought about setting up an investment fund for your child? And it's like, oh my God, dude. He's just
The
relentless.
tenacity.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Not ideal.
Oh, God.
You were in the doghouse when you got home that day.
Mhm.
If you've got a scam to report, if you've got a question, a suggestion, a good joke, a word of wisdom, then leave it in the comments for us. We do our best to check our comments, especially during live shows. But if you're listening on the podcast or watching a YouTube recording in the future, first of all, hello. We hope your candles are green wherever you might be. And we would love to hear from you too. Don't hesitate to reach out to us through all those social channels I mentioned, but the comments are an easy way to reach us. What are you guys seeing in the comments? I see one of my favorites to answer, which is, what cold wallet do you recommend? And then I also see we've got a request from our friend Doug, so maybe we can hit that cold wallet question and then
Yes.
bring Doug up
And
here
then get Doug up. Yeah, that'd be
and
nice.
have a little banter. Yeah.
Sounds
So,
good.
what do you guys personally use, and what do you recommend for other people who are looking for a cold wallet?
So I use the Ledger Nano S. It's an old school version of it. It's pretty affordable, and it has little analog buttons on it. I don't like touch screens. So the little actual physical buttons on them just make me feel good, and they're nice. It works. It does well, but like Trezor is also good. I hear a lot of people say good things about, oh God, I have one on my shelf. What is it? Anyway, there are a number of very good options for hardware wallets. If you like Ledger, great. If you like Trezor, great. Just find one that satisfies your preference and like you're gonna be fine, you know. But I'd look at one of those two, or the one I was thinking of was Arculus. Arculus as well is another good wallet. But
Yeah,
there are a
that
bunch
like
of
a
good ones
card
out there.
style wallet.
Yeah,
that
it's a
you tap to your
card style
phone.
wallet. So there's a card style wallet. Mine's like a little, almost looks like a USB drive. But there's also some made by Ledger that look like old like iPad.
Like iPad, yeah.
I haven't said iPod in so long. I had to really fight myself from saying
Me too.
iPad. Like an old iPod is what it looks like / Kindle kind of combo. And then Trezor has their own kind of touch screens that are different. So, you know, that's it. Oh, Tangem is another really, really good one too. So yeah, I mean, just there are a bunch of good ones out there. Just find one that matches your style.
And Alex, you've been using the Model T by Trezor for always.
As long as always. Yeah, I have zero reason to use anything else. I've never had a problem with it. It works today as well as the day that I took it out of the box, and I'm a huge Trezor fan. Not sponsored by Trezor, but I fucking should be.
He should be.
I am a big fan of this.
And I would just simply say the best cold wallet is the one that works easiest for you, that supports the tokens and networks you want to use, that you feel confident using consistently well. That's what's going to make a safe wallet safe, is that you know how to use it, that you feel good using it. And if you need help trying to decide which wallet is right for you, which one supports the networks and tokens you use, go to their websites. Check the list out. Usually they have one in a section called Documents or About, or even Ask GPT. Does Ledger Nano S support XRP on the XRP ledger? Because remember, tokens can live on different networks. It's important to know where yours live. And then head on over to YouTube. Check out some of the tutorials people have made, because I guarantee whatever legitimate wallet you're interested in, there's a tutorial for it. If somebody messages you and they're like, you need to move your assets from your ledger where they are not safe to the quantum financial ledger, Google that, quantum financial ledger. I challenge you to find a tutorial for this. You won't, because it's a scam. Any legitimate wallet will have tutorials, and that's a great
You
way.
won't.
And that's a great way to see if it works for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you watch somebody open a wallet and they're playing with it and you're like, oh my God, that looks terrible, move on to the next one. You will find one that works. And I, again, would tell you, get in the Discord, because in a community of people, there will be someone who uses the wallet you use and can help you if you have questions, get it set up. And speaking of people who can help you, I want to say happy Thursday and welcome our friend Doug to the show. Man, the tiles are looking clean today. How you doing, brother?
Can't hear you.
No, it's not his fault. It's my fault.
Oh, wait. Evan, we can't hear him.
I heard you say, how are you? And we're good. We're better now that you're here.
Now?
Yeah,
We're
you're great, brother. We got you.
Sweet. How we doing?
Man, feeling good.
Doing
it's like
A-okay.
our Friday when it's Thursday.
That's right, your Friday. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
How about you?
Well, I have a real job, so.
Me too. My real job is so busy right now too because of tariffs. I'm very also frustrated on that I have to actually work.
Lame.
All right, it's the worst.
Yeah, I know. It's
I know you've been
crazy.
busy lately, and listen, just because we have a real job, it's just a fake radio show, okay? Don't
Well,
come for me.
in this token of real jobs, right now we are in the vacation rental business of families coming from like up north to be on the beach because it's beach season in full effect, and it's not like ungodly hot outside right now, so it's just a great time, which means that I'm hardcore in the mode of explaining to little Midwestern families that seeing cockroaches all over the place is just how it works here, and that there's nothing you can do about it, and they're everywhere, and be lucky you're seeing the big ones and not the little ones that are this big that are lightning fast and fly. So
Hate that.
Sorry about it, but they're everywhere, and if you're finding dead ones, it's because pest control is working. And it's always just like an uncomfortable conversation, like, this is ridiculous, this Airbnb is disgusting, there's a cockroach in here, and I'm like, just one? Nice.
You lucked out.
Doing
Yeah.
good.
Hell yeah.
Doing good. Doing good. They comments in jail here. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do actually, I do want to buy an old phone bank or whatever you call them, like payphone, and like
Oh, a
mount it,
phone
like, on the
booth.
wall. Phone booth and like mount it on the wall, and I can put orange on, and I can just hold the foot like so everyone thinks I actually am in jail.
Yeah, for
Yeah, that'd
people
be
who
nice.
are listening to audio only,
great.
I just
Would like
want you
that.
to know that when Doug appears on our show, he has this beautiful tiled wall behind him in his office, but it looks, the way it's framed, we say sometimes, like he's in a really nice, very clean bathroom. And today in the comments, somebody said, Doug looks like he's calling in from jail.
Someone's paying bail, so I appreciate you, friend. Whoever said that?
So
It's
listen,
like great.
I'm so sorry. We always have to give a little lighthearted ribbing to the background because I absolutely do love it that it's become such a good inside joke.
It's
Doug,
almost
if I get you
can't
for
take it down,
Christmas,
though.
can I
Bathroom guy.
get you
Yeah.
one of those like button push air hand dryers and put it on the wall right behind
Oh,
you?
that'd be great.
Yes.
Yeah, like the public bathroom.
Yes.
So it's like,
That's
is he just in
good.
he's not even in his own bathroom. He's in a public bathroom.
It's got to be the crank one though, like the crank with the little knob.
Yeah, with the squeaky paper towels.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's going on aside from the bathroom? How are things going for you, man?
I mean, I'm just trying to navigate this crazy market. I mean, for the most part, I think 2 days ago was the first day in a long time that I'm like, okay, I made a mistake. Got stopped out in the first short in like 3 months. So I'm taking that as a win. But as of right now, I still have no reason not to be bearish. Like that's kind of it. I think yesterday was the foundation that I think the markets at least wanted to start with Besant in the morning. And then all of that was undone in the afternoon. So I think right now markets are going to give us like their reaction to it. And as of this point, the only way you can confirm that if things are actually happening is from the country that's not the U.S. clarifying or confirming that, hey, yes, there are ongoing conversations of forward progress. They can even just say that. It doesn't even matter what it is. But China this morning or last night too had come out saying like, no, there's nothing happening. So I think the markets are going to react to that today. And the first thing too that jumped out at me was last night when that happened was gold. Gold has been, cooling off after this massive move up, and it immediately after that those comments were happening of the, nothing's changed essentially. That started moving up. And so I'm watching gold today, oil also making a move up. And I think oil rolls over. I think that's my main indicator of like the strength of the economy is oil right now, because it's to me is one of the things that's the least manipulated. I know all markets are manipulated, but it's the best gauge of demand. Like the world runs on
Very
oil.
much so, yeah.
If oil's not moving, like if it's also coming off of a pretty painful sell-off and it's in a rising wedge, that it needs to overcome that for us to be somewhat positive on the economy. As of right now, it looks like it wants to roll over, and like it's kind of a gauge, and that's it. So yeah.
Doug, let me unravel that a little bit more. Here's the reason why oil is really hard to manipulate, because it's a thing that is so tied to demand for actual use, right? And so if price of oil is falling, that's typically a sign of, bad economic times, or even, a recession, or let's say a depression, right? Bad economic times. Because if people don't have money, they're not traveling. If people aren't traveling, there's less of a demand for gasoline, less of demand for oil. Now, in the summertime, you typically see demand for oil go up because people go on vacations, right? That's why gasoline in the summertime is typically more expensive. Demand goes up, price goes up, right? That's the same for all assets out there. So if we enter the summertime and gas prices and oil prices continue to go down, that is a sign that so many people are hurting financially to the point where they are not traveling as much, and therefore the price of oil is bearish when it goes down, particularly in the summertime. So just FYI.
Yeah. No, yeah. And on that point too, it's like almost like low oil, like oil producers don't want low oil prices. There's a number, I think it's like $62 or like 64, where it's like the sweet spot for them of just hey, we're not okay, but like we can be we can reach the profit levels that we want. Is like, I think it's 64 is that number. So anything below, it's not great. And so I see a comment here: big producers can up production. Why would they want to up production right now? You don't want to increase supply for no reason if there's no demand. And like that's one of the bigger problems too right now. So yes, Bill, spot on that.
Do you remember when oil was $0?
No,
There was a point when it was negative.
Yeah, that was like 3 years ago.
It was wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
That would have been honestly the best trade, but I wasn't as knowledgeable then.
Yeah, I was paying attention to it, but I was like, I don't want to trade that because I'm gonna have to learn a new tool and I'm gonna mess it up.
COVID?
I think
it was like 4 or 5 years. I think it really was like COVID.
It was COVID or just afterwards, but yeah, oil was zero. It was
and
negative.
I think the prices were negative. Yeah.
You were getting paid to get oil.
I wasn't even paying attention to commodities at that point. Now, by the way, I'm so into commodities. Like I want to start tracking all of them just because like, I want to watch the price of cocoa. I want to watch the price of or cacao. Like it just like it's intriguing to see like these raw materials and like how they move and like with each other or not. Because to me, that's getting a better pulse of like what's actually happening in the world. Crypto and stocks, they're a thing. They're just a function of the thing that's there. And also too, I have to mention is the credit market. Credit market is still very, very shady. The credit market, treasuries, that the safest thing that's out there is the not the question of their safety is in jeopardy, but the willingness to want to invest in U.S. treasuries seems like that's in question right now. So the DXY has been my gauge for that, and that's the dollar index. Right now, it's if you're seeing weakness there, I'm using that as a proxy for the confidence in the U.S. I know it's used for many other things, and there are different ways you can look at it. But right now, for me, a weak dollar shows a weak confidence and trust in the U.S. financial system or U.S. as a whole, and that's not good for the broader economy, global economy. So yeah, those are the things I'm watching. But as of right now, I'm still bearish. I have no reason to need to FOMO into anything because there's no that's. Yeah, there you go. Anything under $100 right now, they did too much higher to me is bearish. 99 is a nice level though, but
Doug, I'm curious to know. I've heard a couple people talk about just the choppy state of the market giving them a lack of confidence or conviction as crypto traders. And they've said things like you're saying, they're looking at other assets, whether that's to get an indicator of where the economy is going or because those things are just more interesting to trade right now. Generally speaking, it sounds like you might concur and feel that way. But what I want to ask you is, if it's sideways like this in the past, is that the case? Like generally, do you feel when the markets are having trouble making up their mind, crypto markets, that it's difficult to trade them?
Yes, but with an asterisk, even more difficult because of the tweet. That's the problem. So it's almost like with a tweet could send something in either direction. So you could be in a great position. Like you did a short-term trade, it turned into a nice, like, hey, I want to hold this longer. And you've held it for like weeks. All of a sudden, tweet, quick, no nasty move up, completely just takes you out. So to answer your question directly, this is 100% a trader's market right now. However, you need to know what you're doing. and there needs to be, and you can't be greedy, and you need to, it's more of the get in, get out type moves. In my opinion, this is not the time to, I mean, you can accumulating's fine, but like I have no interest in accumulating because I need more clarity that we're like, hey, we're going to go back up to the right of the screen, like not sideways or not down. And that's not there for me, and I have no rush to get there unless something else pops up. But yeah, this is the trader's market as at the moment. I probably should take advantage of that more, and I'm not, just because. But yeah,
you and I are in the exact same stance. In fact, I had a comment on a video that was like, "Hey, man, your video has really changed. Like, your channel's really changed a lot. Like, you've stopped talking about like projects and like long-term holding and stuff, and more so like short-term trades and like potential short scenarios and stuff like that." I'm like, that's just kind of like where my head's at. Like in this market where, like you said, everything turns on a tweet, I don't want to be caught on the wrong end of that. So like I had a scenario the other day in Aptos that I liked. I set it up with a tight stop loss. My stop loss got triggered. I put myself in a scenario. I was like, cool, I either make 15 to 20% here or I lose 1 to 2%. I lost 1. But cool, I'm fine with that. Cool, lose that. I'll go back on the sideline and I'll wait for another scenario where I either lose 1 or 2% or I make 15 to 20%, right? And all I have to do is win one of those every, basically 15 times.
10 times,
and I'm making money, but that's it. Like, because I'm just, everything you said, this market is so much more openly manipulated right now than it has been in the past. Whereas before it was just manipulated behind closed doors. At least now it's out in the open, I suppose.
do you think, on that note, sorry to interrupt, do you think they're actually manipulating things, like coordinating it, or the thing? I don't think they even can coordinate the manipulation. I don't think it's even planned. I think it's more just like it just happens.
I think what happened in the closed doors with Scott Bessent that we know about, I think it's very much so coordinated, because for those of you who don't know, Scott Bessent, who is the U.S. Treasury Secretary, he's the guy in charge of economic policies and tax policies in the United States. Basically, think of him as the chief financial officer or the CFO of the United States. And 2 days ago, he came out, and it came out that Scott Bessent had said that a trade war with China is unsustainable. And then also Trump that same day said, he's willing to look at lowering tariffs by 145%. Within less than 12 hours, it came out that Scott Bessent had said those things to a closed room of investors outside of the IMF meeting, the International Monetary Fund meeting. And then he came out the next morning and said that any trade deal with China will take 2 to 3 years, and that we nor Trump are entertaining the idea of lowering those 145% tariffs. Meanwhile, directly after that closed door statement came out with those private investors, the stock market gained like an extra $1 to $2 trillion in market cap, and those people were able to front run it. So do I think it's coordinated? Yeah, I think it's coordinated. We know that they're meeting behind closed doors and saying certain things and letting certain things leak and stuff like that. I mean, it's always been coordinated. It will always be coordinated because it benefits the people in power. That's just the way of the world.
What about the part later in the day? They weren't expecting that. Like the comments of basically undoing what it was. That's where we're talking about the president's comments as it relates to Bessent's. Like that's like, there's not like saying like, hey, that's going to now. Like, did Bessent know that that's not actually real? Like, that didn't actually happen. Like, there isn't a plan to actually, what it seems right now, to make those concessions.
I don't know. But all I know is that this is just like a big fugazi, and it's so chaotic. Yeah. I was even like, do I even report this to people anymore? Like, does it even matter anymore? Does it?
It really doesn't, to be very honest. And I mean, the thing is, like, we can speculate about, who all knows and who's involved in what. Those are not things, but one thing you can look at, like you said, Will, specific instances of measurable data, like the number of long calls for Apple stock put in right before the announcement of exemption of smartphones from any tariffs. So like, very obviously somebody knew that was coming. It was like hours before. Instances of congressional insider trading go back as long as Congress has been a thing. So like, all of this is data that you can just look at. And if, I don't care who you are or what side you're on, if you look at a bunch of options were open in a position, and then 5 minutes later, very favorable news came out for that company, somebody knew about it and front ran it. And the scary part is that it's like news for 20 minutes and then no one gives a shit and everyone just goes about their day and then they do the same thing again the next day.
Yeah, it's not that our position is that there are 10 or 12 people who are highly effective at coordinating the other millions of people in the country and they're doing it without us noticing. It's that there are a handful of people that all have outsized influence and power in some areas or access to some information early and outsized ability to act on it. I don't think Nancy Pelosi is in a group chat with Donald Trump, but I do think that because of the kinds of meetings she is in or the kind of influence that he has when he tweets and the people around, they know stuff. And Donald Trump Jr. is having breakfast with his dad. And so, of course, he's going to be able to act on that information before you do. I don't think they're sitting there together in some weird room where they're all friends and they take off their masks and eat children, but you know,
the weird part about it is that not that long ago, I mean, I don't remember who it was. There was a relatively notorious case of an insider trading arrest where the husband of somebody who was on the board for some company was just like in the house while she was having a meeting with the board about like something with her. This was like single company, and then he ended up getting arrested because he listened to his wife talk about something on the phone and then he made a stock purchase or sale. I can't remember which direction it was going.
Yep.
Ahead of it because of what he overheard on that call and then got arrested. It's like, and now you have that at the most flagrant scale we've ever seen before. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, his wife was a mergers and acquisitions manager at a big oil and gas company. He basically heard that they were going to buy another business, and unbeknownst to his wife, he executed the trade to buy like thousands of shares of this company ahead of the public notice, and then it was a pump and dump, classic pump and dump.
Yep.
And they wouldn't have caught him if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
And didn't she get in trouble too, just for having the call in the house with him?
I don't know.
I don't know.
This is not reported, but I think it just goes to show your information is not as secure as you think.
Yeah. Just wild.
Two last thing, guys, and I got to jump here. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, brother. You go.
I have a question. I have a question for you, Doug, then before we lose you here. So one of the things, like I talked about in a video yesterday when it was time for a gut check and some actually helpful advice. And the only thing I'm like looking at doing right now is, okay, what can I sell? Because like you, I'm still kind of sketched out. It's been really green this week. Everything that I own is in profit. And I want to talk about that in a second, but we can come back to that. So obviously, the only thing I'm really swinging around right now is Solana, up over $50 from the time I purchased the last allocation of it. Took some profits there. Was curious, Doug, how you're treating all of this in the short term. You answered most of this already, but just curious if you can put it in the context of like, the lighter investor and trader, someone who's not necessarily shorting and longing, someone who holds spot and is, interested in like, okay, well, I would actually like to capitalize on the moment that we're seeing right now, given, the hesitancy or the skepticism about any sort of like long-term growth. Because the most common question I'm getting right now is it all back on? What are you buying? And I'm like, I have no idea, literally nothing. I'm selling stuff because, I was buying the last 2 months.
I think the best case scenario in general is that crypto kind of just ranges for months, and which I can't see that happening and in general. So to answer your question, I think you have to ask yourself, it's like, well, if you look at the lows where Solana was down to $100, I think it very well could come back down to the low $100, if not lower. But just thinking about, hey, if you were someone, let's say, has a cost basis of $120 or something like that, if it came back to that level, what would you do? Would you sell? I'm sure you're saying, I wish I sold it at 150. If you think to yourself, I wish I would have sold at 150, for me is like taking some off the table. Like if you're in a position where you have some profits and you're like, hey, especially if you're gonna need the capital, which I hope you're not investing things you don't need, this is a good time to de-risk. Doesn't mean you have to completely close a position, just take some off the table, because in the end, if there is clarity for markets to go back up, this is my favorite parts about crypto, is like there is always an entry point. There is always an entry in all markets, especially it's 24/7, to get back in if you need to, once we have clear levels being flipped and there's multiple confluence that we're in an uptrending market and that stocks aren't looking like they're sad and like we're not in a recession, and all the things that you want, other things of confidence have to be there. So right now, I think this, in my opinion, is a gift for those who've been like the last month been like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely horrible, I can't believe what happened, to potentially scale out a little bit. And if it does go up by some crazy small percentage, I mean, like in the probability, all right, then you look for pullbacks and you add back in. Like that's if you don't want that approach, then
Well,
hold
still,
it. Yeah.
In that instance, right? This is why you wouldn't move with 100% of your position in either direction, because of course there's the chance that things continue to go up. So keep some, if you have any kind of conviction in that, don't sell 100% of your position. Keep something there. You have exposure then either way. You sidelined capital in the event of a crash, and now you're in a position to do something about that crash in the asset you have conviction in. And if it turns around and goes the other way again, boom, you're still exposed. And now you're covered in both directions. And you literally win regardless of which direction it goes. Like, it sounds silly, but it's really that simple.
No.
To that point, though, I would say, going back to a comment, Alex, that you made yesterday or the day before, I can't remember exactly when, but it was like, hey, I'm really just trading Solana because, like, if I buy something that ends up being a local top, I have pretty long-term faith that it's going to come back eventually, even if it just slams down, 50% or something. I can take that Solana, I could stake it, I can earn interest, I can lower my, entry point, I can do a whole bunch of things because Solana has so much adoption that I think it'll come back. But that's the thing where it's like, if you're going to keep exposure in the market with a local top, like, so many altcoins go away and then never, ever, 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 ever come back. So, like, if you're going to do that with something, make sure it's something that'll come back. A pretty safe layer one crypto like Solana is something more likely than not in that category of something that would come back, given the adoption it has. So I'd be careful with that, because if you buy some, meme coin that pumped one time, it might never come back.
I was gonna steal you for one more short question, Doug, and then I will let you go.
You were so bad, Alex. You got time, Doug?
I have time till 9. That's why I got to call it 9, but I want to jump before that. That's all.
Okay. This is a quick one, just because it's been talked about a lot, and given like what gold has been doing, recognizing that it's cooling off a little bit, we're seeing a lot more Bitcoin decoupling talk, which of course inspires talks about crypto decoupling. And we've kind of talked about it a little bit. Personally, I think, okay, the talks are one thing. It's too early to say for sure. It's having a moment, but these things are kind of contagious. And if enough of the right people with the right kind of money get scared enough about something and then have that epiphany moment about Bitcoin, because in all fairness, it probably should be decoupled. I'm just curious, like, is there anything different that you've noticed in your charting and graphs and all the data that you consume and look through that would suggest that this instance of is Bitcoin decoupling is any kind of different than every other year when we get the same conversation about Bitcoin eventually decoupling from stocks?
It's funny you say that, because I did this. Let's just flip my screen here really quick.
And can you describe it for people who are going to be audio only too?
Yeah, of course. First and foremost, I was showing one picture last night on the Scott Bassett when that was happening. I posted a tweet of a live look at Bassett when the president was talking about
tap that save
Yeah.
button, because we don't have you.
Oh
yet.
yeah, that's it. That's important there. This guy. I was like, so like this actually got a lot of engagement, because I'm like, it's because I can imagine. Anyway,
It's Marco Rubio just making his
Marco Rubio,
Dude,
yes.
face.
Watching the life and the soul drain out of Marco Rubio's eyes every time they put him on TV is my love language right now.
Yes.
Fuck that
Whoa.
guy.
Yes. Hold on here. All right. So what I want to show, if you go to my Twitter, and I'll put my thing in the chat here in a minute.
No problem. I got it.
I asked all the AI. By the way, asking the AI's questions on Twitter is a fantastic thing to do. I won't read this whole thing, but basically what I had done is I asked Grok and ChatGPT and Perplexity of, hey, if you were to take the current environment right now, I'm not going to, that's too hard to see. I'm going to flip back here.
I've got it on the big screen in a second.
If you were to take, it's annoying me because it's not clear. So I have OCD with clarity. If you were to take Bitcoin in its current state right now, like the current state of just adoption, maturity, and like where things are, and if you were to put that back right before the Great Recession, leading up to it, would a fund manager even consider using that as a safe haven? And every single one of those, I'm on like 7 AIs right now, besides Grok, said no. because they have mandates where they can't actually do it. So to answer your question, Alex, I know one piece of the equation I'm trying to gauge, like if there is a decoupling, which I don't think there is, who are the individuals buying it? Sure, I get the country part of the equation, I get that part, but the idea was that the U.S. was the baseline of trust for this new thing, and like kind of leading the way, which I think that's kind of gotten lost. It does not mean that Bitcoin can't decouple and do its own thing. Candidly, I don't want that to happen because I think that means a lot more pain for the world in other areas too, in some indirect ways. So I haven't seen anything that tells me that there's a reason for that to happen. It still, to me, ties very closely to the NASDAQ and stocks. And until there's something more clear that gives me that reason, I can't see why anyone with their right mind who's in like a managing someone's assets, with the exception of like, you know, VCs or high risk hedge fund, the ones that kind of just throw money everywhere, that's fine. That they can't do that, regardless if the ETFs are there, it doesn't matter. And I think that's kind of my thought, that I just can't see that happening. I honestly don't want it to happen, but if it does, we'll clearly see it. As of right now, I can't see that happening.
Yeah, it's interesting just because the thing that really spurred this fresh wave of is Bitcoin decoupling conversations that I've seen was really just the relative strength of Bitcoin compared to the stock market. Not necessarily that it was beginning to act independently, but just the fact that like as the stock market crashed, however many percent it did on that those couple days when it was like the worst ever, whatever, gigantic crash. Was it, how many percent was it? Like 10%, 12% total overall, which was crazy. And Bitcoin did like the same percentage, which in any previous year felt like we would have seen 30% down just because of, the size difference. That instance was just not decoupling for me. It was just like the strength of this asset is growing for me. Like the difference in the way that it's being looked at as like, well, the faith was getting stronger. Previously, if you see a crash like that in the stock market, it's like, oh my God, well, this asset is way riskier. Better get the hell out of this thing because it's going to crater. And now enough people are like, I'm really not interested in getting rid of my Bitcoin. And it was different. Who's holding it is different, of course. But I thought it was interesting just because then you also have this head-to-head with one of the things that's been building confidence for people is El Salvador's experiment. It's been going on for how many years now? And now public sentiment around the country of El Salvador is not great. And people care a lot less about what they're doing just because of everything else. And I thought it was interesting because one of the things in the back of my head was like, I wonder if this is going to affect the people's like opinion of Bitcoin. If it's looked at now as like, okay, well, it's being used by them for X reasons. Now it's shady. And I haven't really seen any evidence of that.
Well, do most people know even El Salvador has Bitcoin or buys it?
Most people definitely don't.
I don't think so.
I don't think most people even know what's going on with El Salvador right now, honestly, and the things that just in general, because most of the world's just disconnected. But I with everything you said, I agree with 100%. One other thing too on the part of strength with crypto or Bitcoin is that even looking for Bitcoin from its highs to the lows, it's down 30%. Was down 30%. Solana, ETH, 60+%. So like that is their one indicator. Like, okay, this is now different. Where in the past, they were definitely alts obviously get crushed more than Bitcoin, but just in general now here in this insane environment that we're in, Bitcoin has held up extremely well. You have to note that. Can't not acknowledge that. So, but yeah, so that's it.
Doug, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin is following the M2 money supply?
Oh God, I don't want to talk about it. I'm so sick of them too.
That's you and me both. My counter to that was always kind of one part. There's a two-part to it though. It's M2 is comprised of M0 plus M1. So I'm assuming most people don't know what that is. M0 is physical money floating around in money held by the large banks. M1 is M0 plus what is in basically like retail checkings accounts made for like quick transactions and stuff. And then M2 is all of that plus savings accounts and retail level monetary funds. So M0 is barely going up. And it's barely going up because China's been printing money. M1 hasn't been going up at all. And M2 is going up. So if M2 is built on all those things, that means the only thing that's going up is people are putting cash into their savings accounts, into money market funds, which are safe plays, like very safe haven asset, very recession downturny things. So that doesn't mean that money is being printed. It just means that money is being taken from other things, stock market, crypto, although Bitcoin's been doing great right now, but stock market really, and being put into like low risk savings accounts, right? The other thing also is if you're like, oh, Bitcoin's going up because it's following M2, well, why isn't the stock market doing that? If money's really being printed and liquidity is rising, that means that risk on assets and more speculative assets should be doing better. And the stock market is like the safest of that play with like crypto here, the stock market here. So the stock market should also be doing that. So it's interesting. I would caution, I would say, hey, looking the M2 money supply is great when the money printers are on, and like, yeah, that's wonderful. But I would just like ask a couple different follow-up questions when I would say just don't hold M2 money supply equals Bitcoin going up if M2 is going up. Don't hold on to that religiously. Just ask a few extra questions on top. There are a few holes in that theory.
Yeah,
I have follow-up questions.
To making the assumption that like so why would it go to Bitcoin? Like again, back to like
Right.
why would just say it's there? Like why not go somewhere else? Like
Why not go to the stock market, which is the place where all of the money is connected to in a much bigger way?
Well,
Yes.
because isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. No, Doug, if you have a final, I know we're nearing the end of your time.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm watching this clock. Don't fret.
Will, I know that just because obviously you're watching the other economic data closely, would it make sense? And this is a genuine question because we're now outside of my realm here. So if M1 is flat and M2 is rising, wouldn't we also expect to see a drop in consumer spending as a result, which would then probably indicate like a bearish instance in the market?
Yeah,
overall?
because it means money isn't going into checkings accounts to spend stuff. Money's going into savings accounts for a rainy day. So yeah, that's what you should expect unless something else is going on.
Interesting, because it's just funny to think like, because for my entire time here, I've heard from maybe people less qualified that M2's right, like you just said, M2's rising.
I wouldn't call myself qualified. I just have access to Google.
More qualified.
Me too, brother. That's it.
I don't know.
You'd be amazed at how much more that qualifies you than most people who can't quickly Goog something. But I've always heard that, like superficially, I've just always heard M2 up, risk on assets good, and never really questioned. Just sort of like, okay, well, that's a thing I don't really understand, but sure, a lot of people saying it must be true. When in reality, like it's in this instance, it's literally the opposite. Wow.
I just want to highlight a few comments here. Okay. Everyone is learning a lot right now from this conversation. They're having a good time, but some people are having a better time than others. Miss Piggy Fontaine says in the comments, William, I need you religiously. I'm not entirely sure what that means.
Nice.
And Doug, everyone is absolutely waiting for you to drop, first of all, the Trading Academy, which I want to affirm in you and say, if you don't do it, we're going to pull you and pay you to teach a trading course.
If someone, I was telling the other day, I was talking to Devenzo actually in the chat here. Like I struggle with the organization or the framework of making these things happen. I will produce content all day. If you give me, say, hey, we need a video on this, I will give it to you.
We're on it.
If there's a structure, please. Yeah, I will gladly sign me up.
Top of the mind, first in line.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll leave you guys with this on that note with learning. I think right now, it's even like for myself, we're just talking about these things. I've learned more in the last 90 days as it relates to like global markets than I have in a long time. And I knew probably most of it from college at some point, but this is a great opportunity to look past just crypto. I'm like, hey, I'm all in crypto, but like look at other markets and see how things are interconnected. And you're going to have this, if you can just see things moving one way, other things moving the other way, it gives you a different view on the world. And so when things get back to some sense of normalcy, you'll have another edge now by being able to say like, hey, maybe once in a while I do want to check gold, or I want to check the dollar, or I want to check oil, and just see how they are related or not. It's just a good time. And use the Goog. You're saying that I'm going to Goog stuff to understand like things in more depth. You don't have to go super in depth, but just understand what's being talked about and try to form your own thesis on things. And that's it. So it's good times, although shitty times, but good times. What are we gonna do? So
good
show up
times,
every day. Like
great people. And Doug, you are one of them. We so appreciate it when you come on the show. Tell the folks where they can find you. Is 0x Trend Drift on Twitter and here on TikTok. Is it also Trend Drift? What's the handle?
Yeah, I think it's
Trend Drift 99.
99. I think so. In my bio, there's my Twitter account, which gives you essentially a link to everything. I'm actually working on a new. What was that page you sent me, Evans, a while back? Is the
I don't know, Doug. What
Yeah,
was it?
link tree. The link tree, whatever. The thing like
Oh,
that.
yeah, a little Linktree website.
I
Okay,
can make
cool.
that happen. So we're going to do that soon. So we'll make it easier. But yeah, right now, follow me on Twitter and TikTok. You get everything from there.
Okay,
So
cool. Well, brother,
that's-
thank you for joining us on the show. We're going to give you an applause. And because you're getting out of here, a little bit of a flush. We want you to have a fresh reset, man.
I did Google the paper towel dispensers, so I'm looking that up. So
Nice.
Double flush, then.
I got a
Thank you.
hop off too, so I'm gonna flush away
Thursday.
with Doug.
Okay, gentlemen. We'll catch you Monday and in the chat, right, Will? Do you want to give a final thought? Do you have a question? Time? No? Gotta go? Bye?
I gotta run, but in the Discord, I will be hosting. I'm gonna try to host Monday from 3 to 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, office hours for everybody. So hop in there, chat with me for an hour if you're a premium or premium plus member, and if you're not, you can hop in and listen. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. I gotta run.
Bye, Will. Thank you for all you do. We'll see you in the chat.
Ooh-wee.
I think we're alone now.
Nice.
Almost.
Now you're alone.
I was like, wait, the ghost of William.
the voice.
Who is Miss Piggy Fontaine, and why did she say that about our guy?
This question has come up quite a bit, and Will did a good rundown. It goes a little bit further, so just wanted to hit one more time with the quick bullet points on what are all of these different M's. So really quick, because there's several, and I will say this I had to look up because I don't know, last year or something we were talking about it, and I heard someone talk about M3, and I was like, wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Yes, and actually, there's more than M3. There's also an M4, and it starts to get like more niche, and it's interesting to kind of go through it. So, like Will was saying, as quick and as concisely as I can, M0 is your base layer, physical currency. Okay, this is stuff that's in circulation, held outside of the central bank. Sometimes it's bank reserves, but it's basically just cash in your pocket, vaults, and the central bank. M0 plus demand deposits, so like all your checking accounts, and high liquidity deposits, like for daily transactions. That's M1. So like Will is saying, that's your checking account. This is money that can be spent more easily. M2 adds in savings account, money markets, time deposits, stuff not used for like your day-to-day trading. M3, we're now leaving the United States. So M3 is not reported in the US anymore. This is like M2 plus large time deposits, institutional money markets, and interestingly, more like euro dollar deposits. This is pretty much only used to try to measure like institutional money flows. So it's much more specific. And then M4 is like just in the UK, and it kind of keeps going from here, where there's just like other metrics to measure specific types of money in specific regions of the world being used by specific people. So it's kind of like this is like broad liquidity, but UK specific. So the ones that you hear people talking about most commonly would be M1, M2. M0 doesn't usually get talked about that much because it's just sort of there. And then M1 and M2 would basically be quick moving accounts and slow moving accounts is the way that I remember it.
Beautiful. Well said. I want to shout out all the people who are here contributing to the conversation and say that if you don't listen to the live show, that's totally fine. But if you want us to catch your questions, the best places to leave them are the live show, where sometimes the chat moves a little fast, but also other helpful people answer, and especially the Rise Up Discord server. This is discord.gg/riseup, or just remember the riseupmorningshow.com. It's where all our social links live. If you have a question for us and you really want us to see it and answer it, that's the best place for it. These comments, they disappear. And if we ignore a live comment, it's not us ignoring your comment. It's us running a show as professionally as possible to make it a good listen for everybody who might listen now and in the future, to be helpful to as many people as possible. So please understand and don't take it personally. And this one goes out especially to Ty, who has been very patient and understanding, asking about something else that is topical as we consider where money is moving in the world. What's going on with the DTCC, and what the heck is the DTCC if you don't know? Let's talk about it. This is the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. They've been making headlines recently due to some significant advancements in transaction volumes, record-breaking transaction volumes. Essentially, at the start of this month, They unveiled this new digital platform for real-time collateral management that utilizes blockchain to tokenize things like cash, stocks, bonds. And as we've talked about on this show, when you make something a token that represents it, then it gains all the qualities that we love about tokens. There are markets where you can trade it 24/7. There are smart contracts, pieces of computer code that can facilitate this trading so it's faster, cheaper. There are less errors than in traditional ways of doing it. And generally speaking, the capital, the money, is more efficient. Plus, you can plug it in and do DeFi stuff with it. It's hard for me to take a gold bar and put it in a vaulted Aave. But if I tokenize that gold, then man, I can earn yield on it. I can swap it for Ethereum. I can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. So this is an advancement we expect to see more of. DTCC's subsidiaries are benefiting big time. The National Securities Clearing Corporation, NSCC, had a new peak value of 5.5 trillion, which was like almost a 7% increase over its previous high. The FICC, the Fixed Income Clearing Corporation, another big financial clearinghouse, processed over $11 trillion in transactions on the same day. This was almost a 10% increase over their previous peak. And this is important because as people are talking about updating SWIFT, a legacy financial system that facilitates this, as people are talking about XRP, the token, and the Ripple's, the XRPL ledger, the network, facilitating cross-border payments, all of these magnificent volumes that we're hoping to see come on chain, here is a meaningful step towards that kind of progress. Does it mean you should go out and find every way to get exposure to stuff like this? No, absolutely not. You don't need to buy anything. You need to be aware that this is happening. Edwin asked the clarifying question. DTCC is like FDIC, but for stocks, right? FDIC is the, what is it? Federal Department of Insurance Corporation. They insure your bank accounts.
Yeah.
I don't honestly know. I don't know if it's a apples and oranges comparison.
Federal
but they're
Deposit
a clearing
Insurance
corporation.
There it
Yeah,
is.
Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. They are a clearing corporation, which I believe means they don't do insurance, they do processing. Clearance is like, I sent Alex money and someone in the middle on the back end is facilitating the transfer. They're clearing the transaction from the queue. That's what I got for you. And that's the end of my knowledge on it.
No worries. This is just because I'm going to continue to bring this up because it's so freaking valuable. I don't know the difference between DTCC and FDIC. I have this GPT thread that is trained to do specific kinds of research for me and format my answers in a specific type of overview rundown with bullet points and references and sources that I can then follow out and go and make sure that the AI didn't make a mistake or misquote something, because that does happen sometimes. Literally, I just wrote FDIC versus DTCC ? And sent it to it. And I got this in return. So let me flip this around here. This.
I was like, you got a computer? Wow.
Got this laptop. It was sweet. Can I zoom in? No, unknowingly. Okay. Just got this, like,
For people who can't see, this is like a very thorough but concise looking explanation, like several small paragraphs.
So this is dope. And then, okay, so what is it? What does it do? Key points. What is it? What does it do? Key points. And then a little summary table with the differences laid out. So like, I cannot stress enough how valuable having these threads, turn around, is. There it is. I use it all the time. It's that quick. It's so much better than a Google search to get something like more in depth like this. I can't stress enough. If you need help training the thread, ask me and I will help you do it. Like, this is in my opinion, this is the epitome of teaching somebody to fish. This is it right here.
Is your guide, did I put it up on the website? Your training thread? I don't think I did.
I don't know. I have, yeah. So I did already do a PDF guide with like the process to train a fresh research thread from scratch.
No, I didn't, but I will put it up on the riseupmorningshow.com in the courses and digital downloads page. If you're a premium or premium plus member, you already get this for free. It's in our channel, the free PDF guides channel in the Discord server. If you haven't got it yet, check it out. I just recommended it to Matthew, our friend, the other day, because he's looking to train his agents. It's a great couple of page read that'll get you going in like 15 minutes.
And I'm about to do level 2 because I have more. So you can now take level 2 and incorporate it into what you started with level 1 to just like turn it up to 11. The crap, Evan, there was I had a follow-up.
We're talking about DTCC. I also was having the same phenomenon in my mind where I was like, man, I have no remembrance of where I was going with this next.
This is something that's I'm like actively annoyed. This is my biggest pet peeve of myself is like when you have a thought and you can like physically feel it fall out.
I can
of your
taste
head.
it sometimes as it slips off.
Yeah, I feel like I can visually see it running away from me in a dead sprint. Like it feels so close, but it's just getting farther away. I hate it when that happens.
So let me reset as Alex tries to pick up the pieces of our shattered minds by letting you know that if you have a question, we also have a backlog. A catalog of episodes, Rise Up Morning Show, Rise Up After Dark, where we have expert interviews with friends like Brad from Mega ETH, who was in the chat earlier, where we have altcoin research and give our thoughts on projects like Ondo or Cardano or Algorand. And if you're not in the community, the Discord community, that's really the secret sauce. I do need your feedback, though, because if you're in the Discord, you'll notice I posted an announcement a few days ago, actually yesterday, that we are onboarding to Circle, our new forever home. We want to upgrade the safety of the experience that we offer, and we want to enhance it. We want to bring you more structured education for people who are interested. Wouldn't it be great to have a Trading Academy course with Doug? I mean, I think we all agree that would be fantastic. Or a course where if you're interested in technical analysis, you can learn from Doug 1 week and then Will 1 week, and then maybe somebody who's trading the stock market or somebody who's trading commodities or even doing Forex. That would be killer. Maybe you're somebody who wants to create content or work as a founder or at an established company in our industry. We want to have tracks for people like you, but we need a more robust tool to do it so that you can connect with other people like you who are a little further along the path or that you can teach who are a little farther behind. That is how we, all of us, rise up together. And so we want your questions and we want your feedback on that forum because we want everybody to come with us, especially the many who've yet to join us. So if that's you, then check out discord.gg/riseup. And when you check out that announcement, don't forget to vote on the t-shirt design. We're getting USDC to $2 t-shirts, and I'm very excited about it. I think Alex's chosen design is going to win, but there's still about 12 hours left in the poll. We need your vote, and somebody who votes will win a free shirt. That could be you. Yes, you, my friend. Did you get it, Alex?
I got it. Yeah.
Nailed it.
So you were talking about gold, and we saw an announcement yesterday from a friend of the show, Swarm, and I am curious if you saw it.
No, I did not. But what would you
okay,
search
perfect.
if you were on Google so that you could stream share it?
Well, right here. It was announced via tweet
Look.
on the official Swarm Markets X account. So this is sweet. I definitely recommend taking a look at this. So for context, quick backstory. We recently had our friend Katie Evans, who we've been fortunate enough to know for a few years now, who works at Swarm Markets, on the show. She used to work at the London Metal Exchange and was just talking about kind of the demand of gold and see, this is one of the things that also the reason I'm so into this. I don't believe that gold and Bitcoin are competitors for, I think that they can help each other. Gold is a time-tested, strong asset. Perhaps the price action of Bitcoin has outperformed it in like its total lifetime, but like how long has gold been a thing? And look at it now, it's still proving to be that kind of safe haven outside of the crazy, sketchy market volatility of all this other nonsense, right? Tokenizing it in a better and better way, because we've seen tokenized gold before. PaxG is a stablecoin pegged to an ounce of gold. But there have been questions about custody and where is it, who has it, who's watching it, you're not necessarily getting delivered it. Does the token actually mean anything? Like all valid questions, things you should be concerned about when you're talking about this. So in an effort to level that up, Swarm is just kind of, I keep saying it, turning it up to 11 here. So this is a really, really great read that I feel like it does such a good job of talking about their new product, X Gold, breaking it down into plainer English. And I cannot believe that this doesn't have more engagement. Anyway, I will link this whole thread in the general chat of the Discord. It's worth a check. And I would love, in the wake of this, to get Katie back and have another conversation just about the availability of gold through tokenization.
Man, I think that would be a really good panel discussion to have, because I think we've had a couple of friends who could contribute to that. I mean, I think Lindsay would be great to have on that panel. She's given a lot of really nuanced thoughts on regulating and delivering real world assets to market in different jurisdictions. I think, who else would be great for that? I think Solom and the folks over at Solom Global would probably be great for that. Everybody's got sort of a different approach. We could have Matt Harrowing back on from Instruxy, because how you tokenize, how you verify the physical thing and secure it is something they're really interested in. I think there are a lot of people that we know who could inform the state of that, because it's advancing so quickly. Everybody's got a new product coming out in a new way. That's the kind of experimentation I'm excited for.
Yeah.
You know, not the content coins where somebody's got to lose or sell the token to get any value from it.
Yeah.
Can I tell you? Go ahead. And then I got a quick story for you.
The way that this is leveling up, and this is laid out in the tweet, right? You know, I think this would be a really interesting conversation. And I know that Lindsay's going to be in Toronto. I'm not sure if Swarm is going to. We should ping Katie and see if they're going to be there, because that would be an awesome opportunity to get everyone in the same place. If we can coordinate some schedules for a show or even just a recording. But, you know, the idea here, token is backed by physical gold, upping the transparency. So you're getting to see serial number, purity, and weight with. So this is basically putting a legitimate warehouse receipt on chain. That's kind of the idea, that, you know, this is not necessarily new. It's just a new connection to two existing tech pieces, on-chain security of an existing warehouse receipt. They have one of the reasons this has taken so long is because Swarm has been very focused on regulatory compliance. So like the custody and security of this particular gold, which is secured at was LBMA and certified by them, is like legally custodied and protected by German law and secured in special vaults exclusively for gold that is represented by these tokens, which is also kind of cool. And then you can kind of check on it like regularly and see it. And if you would like to have it and custody it yourself, they will send it to you, which is also sweet.
Yeah, they'll like deliver it in a Brinks truck. It's not Brinks, but it's, you know, it's somebody else whose name is escaping me. Katie talked through it on our interview with her.
I can't remember, but it's just, you know, you have the choice. This is kind of like the cool part about this is you put the receipt of the purchase on chain.
Yep.
Immutable, you know, unarguable. Let them custody it for you, or if you would rather do it yourself, go for it. It's like the cold storage, hot storage, but for physical gold.
It's like what Nil did with that Pokemon card.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like they have a vault solution, they're taking care of it, and I think those things are only going to get cheaper and more efficient. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I want, this is what I want to see more of. I want to see more of the use of blockchain without slapping a fresh pyramid scheme on it to secure things that could be secured better. And this is one of those things. That's why this is so cool.
Yeah,
your story.
Absolutely. Beautiful. I am almost at that time where I'm going to start asking you for your last minute questions, suggestions, good jokes, words of wisdom, if you are listening, but it is not quite that time yet. So hang on. We still got some more show. I wanted to tell you, Alex, I got a DM from somebody on the subject of content coins named Yash, who's a previous Robinhood employee who's working on Movement. And his DM was like, hey, I'm building Movement. And I was like, oh, hey, listen, pal, we've already done a collaboration with Movement Labs. Like, that's great. We love you. Love your show. And then I clicked into it, and it's not that movement. It's a different movement. It is a wrapper for a platform that's like Pump.Fun. But the wrapper is, you're a creator. Platforms take all the value away from you. Do you and your audience want to learn together? And of course, everybody wants that. Everybody wants to earn what is rightfully theirs. Everybody wants to have a piece of the pie that platforms take from us. But their particular solution was, we make it easy for you to launch a meme coin in a click, for you to have a group chat with people who follow you, find you, support you, buy your token, and then you're all going to make money together. You earn, as the creator, 50% on every buy or sell of the token, and you get an allocation of the supply. And would you like to partner with us? We're onboarding 45 creators right now. And I sent him what I hoped came off as a very thoughtful message about how excited I am to see tokens and smart contracts and blockchain being used to benefit creators, but why I didn't think it looked like this. Here are my concerns. I told him my mind is open. I told him, number one is that it concerns me that the only way for my fans and followers to earn is to sell my token. And this seems to preference and prioritize people who are good at picking out trends and good at generating attention. I said, it's likely that someone like me, another creator who's incentivized to make content, to make people trade in order to make money, will just do rage baity content. It's what we've seen before. Why won't this become the pumped out fun video stream where somebody's got a weapon or doing crazy stuff on stream just to generate attention? I don't see why it won't. And the other thing is, I think the people who really will benefit most are not this or that creator who gets great content. It's going to be the people who get good at spotting short-term trends and then buying and selling. Those are the people who are going to win. I said, so if you have a different vision for this, or I'm not understanding, let me know. But I ended it offering some feedback just to say, like, hey man, I talk about this all the time on my channel, and models exist for what this could look like, but it's not this. And we could build it a lot of different ways. If you need feedback or help, I would love to support you. But it just made me sad, because here's somebody who gave me a great intro, beautiful cold DM. He used to work at Robinhood, has built a nice website and what looks to be a well-functioning app, but that's what it does. I don't know. It made me sad. It made me glad, because, like, you know, I feel like we're holding on to a dream.
Yeah.
But
it's just, it's kind of like we were talking about yesterday, though. You know, it's this idea of the flavor of innovation seeming to be no new methodology, no new process, no change to the system, just like a fresh brand book and a different name.
Exactly.
And you know what? Like, I'll take it in one sense that, like, okay, if we can clean up UX and UI, we can, like, baby step. But this is the reason that, like, Mega ETH is interesting. This is the reason that Wildcard is interesting. This is the reason that Unichain is interesting, because at least something about the process is also being changed.
Yeah.
That's really truly what I want to see. And I would call out and highlight too, just because they've been not nailing it lately. Yesterday, Jesse Pollock tweeted an update just about Warpcast, or excuse me, a tipping system, like a like equals tip kind of a thing.
Okay.
The feedback, which I saw from people who I've also watched roast him incessantly for this content coin debacle nonsense, the whole thing where, I mean, it really peaked when he tokenized and put on chain a image of this woman without asking her permission, and then realized the mistake, deleted the tweet, and everyone's like, bro, you're literally the blockchain guy. You put it on chain. It's there forever. What are you doing?
Yeah, you deleted the tweet, but it's on chain forever.
Yeah. The response from all these people was like, Jesse, this is it. Like, this is it. This is so much better than what you've been doing the last week. And I just, like, I'm glad that we got there. Like, let's demonstrate some learning. This is an improvement. I am excited about this. It was a USDC based tip too. We're not making a new shit coin.
Love it.
To do the tip. We're just tipping in stable coins. I couldn't be more excited about it. Huge fan. I am a huge fan of this. So that's the kind of thing that I want to like, okay, fuck up, recognize it, fix it, move on, do something better. That's really, truly all I want to see. That's all I expect. So yeah, I'm with you. It's a bit of a bummer, but like, I don't know, it's twofold, right? You need builders to make new things that are different, and then you need the people who cover this kind of stuff to give it fair coverage.
Yeah. I got to make a video about that DM. I got to do it.
Yeah.
Just so people know.
I don't know. That's the one thing that pisses me off that I'm working on is my mom is trying to do a better job covering myself, and then also replying to people who are just whining about how there's no good coverage of good stuff. And I'm like, well, it's because you're the coverer and you're not covering it. Look in the mirror. Pot, meat, kettle.
I think that's a good time to ask people to help us and keep us accountable. Alex, you and I have both talked about this. We're building a media company. Our baby right now is a live broadcast 5 times a week that takes a lot of work to produce. It's a community of global learners at all levels of experience that takes a lot of shepherding and maintenance. And it is an establishment of reputation amongst our peers in the space where crypto Twitter is your business card. And frankly, we don't have the cred. So we have a lot of work to do. And unfortunately, unless your name is William Watson, content creation sometimes gets the short end of the stick. But that's our job. It's probably that these people just don't know what the better way is. I don't think we're the smartest people in the room. I think we're kind of on the middle of the curve, to be frank. We're good at paying attention, asking questions, staying curious, and using ChatGPT. And we got good friends.
That's the superpower. For the record.
It's totally the superpower.
Relentless curiosity and the constant pursuit of understanding things that you don't know and being in touch with the fact that you don't know stuff. That's it.
But I will say, we really do. We have an advantage, or we have come to a place through luck and circumstance where if this was like a mountain and the higher up you were, the farther you could see. We're not Vitalik or anything, but I feel like we have been able to cultivate a really beautiful view. And I'm not entirely sure how we got here, but I constantly am hearing people speak.
Curiosity.
Who say they live on the mountain, but the view they see is like 10,000 feet down. They're like, what if it was a buyable, sellable coin attached to your content? And I'm like, huh? Or what if it's a token that does governance and raises money and you can, whoa. You know what I mean? Like, why are we still doing one token for a company? Why are we still doing all these things? And I realize that we will never not have stuff to talk about. Like we have to be, our responsibility, because we got this beautiful view on the mountain, is to turn around and as clearly and articulately as possible, as regularly as possible, speak directions to people so they can come to this spot that we are, and also look around in our curiosity for the other great places on the mountain to see the future from. I don't know. We gotta do it. We gotta do a better job. I'm speaking to myself. I know you know it too, but I'm telling the audience, we are aware. We want your help. Encourage us, send us the best examples, ask us your questions, engage with us so that we are reminded how important this job is.
In the interest of just laying it all out there, like you said, this is what we're working on building. I believe there's a better way to do this than has currently been done. It's the reason that we no longer offer single shot sponsored videos to anybody, just because
can't buy us, man.
They just don't work. I mean, let me know. I would love feedback. I'm actively working on collecting data to continue to reinforce this thesis that I have, that those videos are truly just the worst for multiple reasons. One, they hurt the social capital of the creator who posts it, because no one likes watching a crypto ad. They're not good. They're not genuine. They even if it is a genuine, like, I love this product, because of the nature of the industry and certainly where we are right now, it's just very hard to talk about it like that. So when you see the crypto ad, right, like, you want to scroll. I want to scroll. I'm not going to sit there and watch it. If I wouldn't watch it, why the hell would I post it?
Crypto.com, are you watching this?
Oh my God. Yeah. Pay attention for the love of God. And in the interest of like more long-term stuff, just because, it still takes a lot for me to write, script, produce it, all that kind of stuff. And I know it's not going to perform well. So you, the brand, you're wasting your money by paying me to do this, because the engagement's going to be shit. The conversion's going to be bad. There's only two kinds of engagement. People who already know, like, and trust the creator are like, hey, good for you, get the bag. And the second part are like, ew, sell out. It's just not good. And that's evidenced by the comments on all of those videos, right? So I would way rather be able to have the show sponsored and talk about it that way with full proper context and give all the disclaimers and all that kind of stuff. But that's a terrible video. Nobody would sit there and watch that video, right? It's different. It just doesn't work. So I want to see that done better. All you guys really need to do is just engage genuinely. Like if you see something and you're like, hey, for the record, this is great, this makes me think this, those comments are so freaking helpful. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like someone who's just like, hey, by the way, like I took notes on this video, this makes me want to go check out that website, I'm gonna go check this out and see whatever. Cool. If it's like, hey, by the way, like the way this is presented really makes me feel this and it was bad, that's super valuable. The only way that this kind of thing can happen and be like honest and genuine and not sleazy and shitty is if we're all on the same like wavelength of understanding. And that all just comes with breaking people out of this echo chamber of repeating the same garbage into the same, just sphere of the same shit over and over and over and over again.
Yep. And if you're a brand, sorry, Alex, can I take it?
Yes, please.
If you're a brand, you got to know this too. Like, stop trying the playbook that you look around on crypto. Stop appealing to the same 3,000 users if you want to get 1 million users or 1 billion users, God forbid. Neil said down here, it's so wild that teams don't lean into their own culture. He said, like, why is Magic Eden trying to educate? Meme, you're good at it. If that's what your brand is, lean into it. Like, go with what your audience wants and needs from you, which will help them understand why your product or service is valuable, which will position you as an expert. And I am begging you to stop paying influencers, whatever you want to pay them, for like a single tweet. Stop hiring agencies because you don't know. The fact that you aren't in touch with content creators that your audience likes, and you are outsourcing the task of getting in touch with them to some stranger who claims to have good results through media. Like, I get it. That's not your job. But I am telling you, we are telling you as people who work here, market here, tell stories for a living. If you want to build trust with people and you want to do it over a long term, like engagement boosting, numbers boosting, let me get 1,000 likes on this tweet. Let me go viral one time on TikTok, 10 times on TikTok, whatever, for 3 weeks. Let me get that quick use pump. That is not going to help you. Content marketing is effective when applied over a longer term. When you build a relationship with an audience, because you built a relationship with creators they know, like, and trust. You can either build that channel yourself, spend 5 years, post on TikTok every single day so that people know, like, and trust you, so that your content is good, so that you have a community, or go pay Alex. He's already done that work for you. He is already liked and trusted. And if you are a brand in our space that wants to reach those millions of people who see his videos every month, that's what you've got to do. You've got to meet them where they are. Simple.
I was going to grab Sam's TikTok, if I could remember her handle off the top. It's our friend.
Yes.
Sam Ogden. She's a fantastic creator here on TikTok, talks about marketing. She's posted a few videos lately just about this idea, this trend that, like, people want the virality of working with good social media content creators, and then they hire them and then they stick them in a box and they stifle the creativity and they ruin the opportunity before it even gets off the ground. And it's just like all around bad. If you're going to hire a content creator, you got to let them create. Like, don't tell me what to say. Don't write me a script. If you want me to represent you, we need to have several talks first. We need to understand the plan, and then you have to get the hell out of my way. Respectfully.
I don't need to have several talks. I need you to watch some of my content, be polite to me, and then I'll be really respectful of your time. Just send me the docs, man, and we can text about it. I don't even need to meet you. I would love to. Let's share a meal together, but, like, also,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I need to know what success looks like for you.
That's exactly right.
It's 2 or 3 questions. I need to know which direction you're trying to go. And then I need you to understand I'm not going to film a commercial for you. But
hey, since we have a lot of content creators in here, that's you need to take note of that. If you are a content creator and you want to get paid for your work, a question that should be in your mouth when you meet with a brand is not what's your budget, though that's a good question, is not when do you need this by, that's a good question. What does success look like for you?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just assume, oh, you're coming to me, you want content, you want more content, you want more views. That's not necessarily it. They want the clicks behind the views, or they want a particular kind of click from a particular kind of person. Or maybe they're just trying to drive sales. So they don't need you to make a million videos. They just need you to convert customers. What does success look like for you? And that shows them also, because most people won't ask that question, that you are strategic. You're not just a guy with a video camera or a pen. You are a marketer. It's a good tip, Alex. I know it's about time for our final thoughts, but I have rugged you several times in this segment alone, so I want to give you the last word on this before we ride our cats and cows into the sunrise this weekend.
Well, I will take this opportunity to give 2 shout-outs to products that I have recently become familiar with that I am a big fan of. So I'll do 2 screen shares. Number one. Here we go. There she is.
That sounds like a number 2. I need to get that checked out.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, here we come.
Okay.
Go for it.
This is the Llama feed. We are big fans of DeFi Llama. This show is not sponsored by DeFi Llama, and it won't be because I don't want to take their money. They do not take our money. I will not take their money. I will just talk about them because they provide tremendous value for free to anybody who wants it. No account required. This is sick. This is the Llama feed. I just found this the other day. They've kind of revamped their homepage. There's all sorts of goodies on here. I cannot recommend this highly enough. This has now become one of my go-to like morning checks because it's a little bit easier to digest. I'll still go through Crypto Panic because way more sources are queried on there for news stories. But this one is great because it also checks specific tweets, specific press releases, gives me the poly market overview, which is nice because I know like which topics are trending, like what are people currently debating. Some price stuff, upcoming unlocks, awesome. Central exchange inflows and outflows, love that. You got little whale watcher right there. And then just news. This is really cool. So toss this into your like quick check morning routine, get like lightly informed. If you're like me and you want to spend more time deeply understanding everything that's being talked about and going on, because I don't know, you're interested in starting your own fake radio show where you talk about this sort of stuff, this is another great tool. Toss this in with Crypto Panic. Number 2, can't believe I had never heard about this before, but this is CoinCarp, another animal named crypto research tool. But this popped up yesterday when we were looking for wallet holder, token distribution amongst wallets for Axelar. And we're having some trouble finding it. And this is basically just like a better UI. It's like combining CoinGecko with a blockchain explorer and improving the UI. Huge fan. There's all sorts of good stuff on here. The same kinds of information that I would be getting off of CoinGecko. Also not sponsored by CoinCarp, but like, hey, I would love to talk. Apparently they have a mobile app, which is awesome. There's all sorts of stuff. You got your categories, just like you kind of are used to seeing. So, pick something. Here's look at Bitcoin. You got all sorts of stuff. Named something that makes sense. Here's the rich list. Top holders. Okay, sweet. Exchange
Absolutely
wallets, news, historical data, social media accounts associated with it, current market, tokenomics. Like, it's the data that you would get from a blockchain explorer with a little bit of help cleaning it up and making it easier to digest.
Yeah.
And reading data from the chain is the most important skill that you can learn in this entire industry. So another shout out.
I don't know who their front end team is, but they killed it.
They're killing
Absolutely killed it.
That's all I got.
Good shout outs. Beautiful. And for my final thought, I will simply say thank you for being the very best part of what we do. If you haven't yet, be sure to check out the new Rise Up Morning Show mug. You can no longer get this mug. I'm sorry to say we have discontinued it, and I have a POAP. My war with the POAP people is temporarily truced, and so if you bought a Morning Show mug, check out your email in the days ahead. You will get a provably unique digital collectible to forever commemorate and celebrate your status as an early supporter of the Rise Up Morning Show. Check out the riseupmorningshow.com. Check out discord.gg/riseup. And don't hesitate to ask us any questions. Then join us next week. We'll be back. Same time, same place, 7 a.m. Go for it. What you got?
One more shout out. that I want to just get in the habit of doing.
Yeah.
Nil, our
Nil.
dear friend of the show, Nil, is starting his live show imminently, if he hasn't already.
Oh yeah.
So if you are,
He's not doing 2 p.m.s anymore. When's he doing?
he's live all the time, man. I think he's just kind of constantly streaming. And I think every time he's trying to speak just a tiny bit faster, his intro is like so dialed in.
Dude,
He doesn't
his
miss
loops
a word.
on his video,
I know.
it's so
But,
good.
like,
It's iconic.
You know what's funny is so many fresh creators on TikTok, one of the most common things that they struggle with is balancing music to voice volumes. And Nil's got the best soundtrack on any live stream. It's great. So if you're looking to continue watching some top-notch Web3 content, go bother Nil, hang out with him, ask him questions. He lives here, he works here. He's newer to TikTok and he's kind of crushing it. So
The handle is at Big Nil, Nill, collect. Like,
Yeah, he's-
call me collect, baby. Big Nil collect. Check him out if you're listening to the podcast. He's a great TikTok follow. Great Twitter follow, too. He's over there, but I know he's trying to be
100%.
personal
Go
and streaming
rate
on
him
TikTok.
here on TikTok.
Yep.
You won't regret it.
Okay, get out of here, then come back and see us Monday morning. We'll be back, same time, same place, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, my friends, have a great weekend. Stay safe. Be well. Everybody,